Hello, everyone. Welcome back to She Blurbs podcast. Today, guest is KJ. Hi, KJ.
Pleasure to be with you. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you for coming on my show. So, can you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself?
I'm delighted to. So, for the last 6 or 7 years, I've been researching kidnap and ransom. Probably a kind of an unusual topic, but I grew up living internationally. My father worked in telecommunications, so I lived in Saudi Arabia, Puerto Rico, Africa, Europe, and I think that experience just gave me, the kind of opportunity to see that there's so many different places in the world where we're not as safe as we are in North America, and kidnapping really captured my imagination because it's like you're still alive, but you're not really living. You're stuck in this frozen bubble, and you have to rely on someone else for absolutely everything. Your food, your care. And I just thought this is a really interesting concept. So I decided to create a strong female protagonist because we need more of those. And her name is Thea Paris, and she's an elite kidnap negotiator.
Oh, nice. So what inspired you to write them, or write those kind of novels?
Well, I had, the great pleasure of meeting a former hostage, a gentleman named Peter Moore, who was held in Iraq for over 1,000 days. And, just talking to Peter about how he survived, he had a stinky, filthy pillow that he was able to interview and do mock job interviews and kind of get down nitty gritty. He also had a wall beside him that had a bunch of cracks on it. And so he, in his mind, designed an entire train system using those cracks as guidance. And he was able to replicate that train system on paper when he got back home.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Wow. So he was kidnapped for 1,000 days?
Yeah, he went to Iraq as an IT expert, and he was going to train the programmers and analysts there in the Ministry of kind of finance. And in his first couple of weeks, he was kidnapped with 4 British military gentlemen who were there to help protect him. And very sadly, Peter was the only one of the 5 who ended up coming home.
Oh wow! Oh my God, that's wow! I don't know what to say about that. That kind of scares me because I wanted to be a traveling journalist, and my mom was like, "No, I don't want you to be kidnapped because they kidnap journalists and kill them and torture them." So I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that, but that scares me.
Yeah, sorry, I don't mean to, but things have changed dramatically. It used to be back in the day that only high net worth individuals and multinational executives were the ones that were targeted. But these days, it's changed dramatically. And as your mom always knows best, right? Journalists, aid workers, missionaries, adventure seekers are all targeted, because kidnapping has been growing exponentially.
Wow. So, can you give our listeners a brief summary of both of your novels?
Sure. So in The Freedom Broker, you are introduced to Thea Paris for the very first time. And the reason Thea wanted to become a kidnap negotiator was because when she was 8, she watched as her 12-year-old brother was kidnapped in front of her. Now, her brother came back, but he was never the same because during the time in Africa when he was kidnapped, he became a child soldier. So this was very dramatic and very impactful on their entire family. And fast forward, 20 years, and Thea's father is kidnapped. Now, it's really interesting because a lot of maybe listeners would be like, wow, is that usual for 2 family members to be kidnapped? And actually, sadly, it is. Because what happens sometimes is if the kidnappers get a solid ransom for the first family member, they know that there's money there and that there's payment options. And so they might hit the family up either kidnapping the same person again, it's happened, or kidnapping another family member and trying to do that. So it's really, I know it's strange, isn't it, how the kidnapper mind works, but when they see an income source, they want to tap it till it's dry. So that's The Freedom Broker. And, so Thea has to basically, discover who it is who's taken her father and why. And then in Skyjack, the title says a lot. So Thea is taking these amazing two African orphans that she met when she lived there, back home to London, where they're going to be adopted by a family. And during the flight, someone takes over and hijacks the plane. And so things unwind from there, and it's a very dramatic, action-packed adventure. If you like flying, I think you'll really enjoy it, because I tend to do intensive research in whatever I'm writing about. And so you'll learn a lot about the way planes work, and things that can go wrong. It's actually really funny. So it's only been about 50 years, and that seems like a short time when you think about it, that there's been serious security at airports. Before that, there really wasn't. Everyone just walked on the plane. Like, it was just completely different experience. And the reason for that was in the 60s and 70s, there was, a lot of hijackings, a rash of them. And a lot of people too were, basically, kind of going, hey, take me to Cuba, and doing political type hijackings. So as a result of that, they polled, the public, saying, okay, look, we've got some security issues on planes. What are your suggestions to try and fix that? And there were some pretty hilarious suggestions, from giving, every single passenger boxing gloves to wear, so they couldn't do anything. They couldn't pull a gun, they couldn't act anything, and they'd have to just wear these boxing gloves the entire time. They also suggested giving flight attendants tranquilizer darts. So if anyone misbehaves, just shoot them. That'll fix them. And then they suggested maybe even a trap door, to throw out someone that, wasn't behaving properly. Or they actually suggested an interesting one where they could make an airport look like Cuba, but it's actually based in Florida, and land there and be able to arrest the hijackers there.
Oh, wow. And that's in the book Skyjack?
Yeah, there's lots of really cool information, like I said, about how planes work, how to protect yourself when you're flying. I love doing travel safety talks because I'm an avid traveler myself. And I just think as long as you take the proper precautions, I think it's good, and it's really enriching in your life to travel.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to start traveling, me and my dog, who was trying to ruin the video. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try that. I'm still scared because of the kidnapping. My mom was like, I don't think you should travel because I feel like you'll get kidnapped. I'm like, well, thank you, Mom.
Well, now you know who to call.
True. So, who are a few of your favorite authors, and have any of them inspired any of your novels?
Yeah. So David Morrell is the creator of Rambo. And David has, I don't know, almost 50 years of writing experience now. And when I was younger, I read his spy novels, and they're just fantastic. The Brotherhood of the Rose, Fraternity of the Stone. And anyway, so I thought so highly of David. And I went back into my master's in creative writing. And if you can believe it, he came as a guest and I was a speaker. So that was one of those moments where you just kind of think, something is afoot, that, it's meant to be. And I had a great talk with David. And then I had the opportunity to write a profile on him. And he still has that up on his website today, which is really lovely. And he said, I really appreciate the hard work you put into the profile. I'd like to mentor you. And so he has offered me guidance and really guided me. And actually Skyjack's dedicated to him.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Wow. So do you still talk to him ever?
Yeah, definitely.
And stuff? That's amazing. Wow. So what advice would you give to help others who want to pursue a writing career?
That's a great question. And there's many ways to tackle it. I think the number one thing is to find something you're ridiculously passionate about. Like for me, kidnapping, some topic or some genre where you see yourself being able to stay in that and write different books and be enthusiastic. Because if you're going to spend a year of your life, which is, what it takes for most novels, you really want to make sure that you're in the world where you're happy and passionate and inspired. So I think that is the number one thing. And I also feel that, you kind of have to erase the outside influences. You know, we're always going to be worried about rejection. We're always going to be worried about how our career's going, sales, promotion, marketing. There's a million and one things to take you away from your writing. And I think the key thing is to just have joy when you sit down and work on the page. I know some days are very hard and frustrating and you'll hit a wall, but if you just try to block out that other business stuff when you write, I think you'll really enjoy and realize that that is why you want to become a writer, because you want to be a storyteller. You right?
Yes, that's true. That's great advice. My problem with starting like my book is I don't know where to start. That's my problem. And I'm one of those people that are like very organized. So I have to do things in a certain order or else it'll throw me all off. And that's my main problem about writing is that I'm very organized.
Well, it's tough because you're right. I mean, the secret is you want to start right in the middle of the action. And when I say action, I don't necessarily mean thriller action. I'm just saying something that's, tense and there's conflict for your character, and immediately put the reader with the ability to care about your character and worry about your character all in one chapter. And then also something that, isn't backstory. It's something that's happening now and matters now, I think is key. And if you think about, I love brainstorming with people, because it's super fun to think about, like you said, where do you start your book? But I always think of like, how do I hook the reader? How do I put them in that world and immediately give them a problem?
That's great advice. So what do you enjoy doing when you're not writing or reading?
Well, I'm an avid tennis player. I tend to play at least 5 days a week. It's a super fun sport, and so I can't help myself. Obviously, I usually love to travel, but of course, we've been in a pandemic, so that has changed things a little bit for now. And I love to swim. I was a former lifeguard, and really that's I think the other passionate sport is swimming. And I really love to cook and to create, new dishes and play with that. So, I just think, I like nature and outdoors as well. How about yourself?
Oh, me? I don't know. I like kayaking. But
Fun.
with my dog, can you picture a dog sitting there with a little swimmer on the kayak? It's hilarious. And then she has her little shoes on, and you know how dogs are with shoes. But yeah, that's mostly what I like doing is kayaking. But I've never really traveled because I'm too scared. I'm scared of getting kidnapped. But definitely. So I want to thank you so much, KJ, for coming on my show today and allowing me to interview you on my website.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, and stay safe and well, and try to, as long as you plan ahead and you travel safely to certain countries, your chance of being kidnapped is very, very slim. So don't let that stop you from enjoying a full, exciting life.
Okay. I'm definitely going to take that advice. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm so scared, though. You have a great day.
Yeah, thanks so much. Take good care of yourself.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Hey, everyone. I want to thank you so much for listening to my interview. I was a little nervous. I don't know where it came from, but I was a little nervous. But I want to thank you all for listening to my interview with KJ. She is a wonderful person to interview. And if you would like to view any of her novels or see what she's up to, then you can go to her website. It's linked below and it's tickering below. If you like to contact her or read any of her books or see what she's up to, just go to her website and check it out. I hope you all have a great day and thank you all for listening.